Rayllum is back and stronger than ever. And I think that stronger than ever part is necessary to emphasize. Their relationship has come apart, making them suffer, making them strive to repair it, and it is now repaired, and it is stronger than ever. It is once more a beacon for a fractured and uncertain world, for what a strong and solid relationship should be, not simply a gleaming symbol of the capacity for elves and humans to connect and transcend that historical divide, though it is that, but of the flourishing of people who are willing to see clearly, who are willing to treat each other as equals, who do not fall victim to the kind of myopia and insularity that sadly cause so many other good-natured characters in this show with very good intentions to cause suffering to themselves and others. I have made quite a plethora of videos about Rayllum, and I greatly loved making each and every one of those videos. But it is important, I think, to justify why I'm still making more. Because as the show has changed, their relationship has changed, and it's important to take a look at how their relationship is now. Because it's not static, it's not fixed. If it were, it would be boring, and this show, whatever else it is not boring. William James, the great American philosopher, talks about how change occurs to the mind and the self. It's not in these grand, drastic transformations, usually. Rather, it's just the accumulation of little moments, little sensations and experiences that gradually, over time, replace beliefs that are insufficient to deal with the wild truth of a chaotic and unpredictable world with beliefs that fit the experience of living in that world a little more clearly. Truth is not discovered like a jewel in a cave. It is built, it is constructed with effort and determination by individuals who are constantly willing to look at the world, which is always transforming and always unexpected, and change little by little, bit by bit, based on how the impressions of that world react to the beliefs and convictions already possessed. Something new is always there to be discovered, and such is the case with this lovely pairing. There is a great emphasis this season placed on eyes and seeing. It is a major motif here. Solregum was blinded and does not have eyes, and importantly, when Callum believes that he has the opportunity to get Solregum on his side, he offers first to restore Solregum's eyes. But Solregum doesn't want that. Instead, he wants wings so he can wreak fiery destruction on others. Instead of wisdom, clarity, the ability to see situations for what they are, unclouded by artifice, doctrine, and bias, he chooses wings, which allow destruction, terrorizing, devastation. A similar kind of circumstance occurs when Rayla and Callum ascend the Star Scraper and see the Skywing Elves there, which are in many ways sage and thoughtful creatures. They have the capacity to see far throughout time. At least some of them do, and they derive a degree of wisdom from being removed from the uncertainty of worldly affairs. But nonetheless, their perspectives are kind of limited. They don't know everything. They're not these brilliant oracles, even with the foresight some of them possess. Callum is, in many ways, looked down upon by them, even if he is one of the chosen two in their prophecies. But they are insular. The fact that they are blindfolded, and that they do not take off these blindfolds, says a lot about them, and not all of it's positive. For instance, they only want to look upon the pure starlight, so their eyes are not corrupted by looking upon the sun or the moon. But they constantly want the prophesized heroes to destroy the beast that they believe is an evil monster that blocks out all the star nights. All the nights where they would otherwise be able to take off their blindfolds per their customs and see. What they don't understand is that the beast is not some sort of vile, disgusting monster, but a pet and an understandable creature that Rayla and Callum can tame. The capacity to see clearly, to be able to respond to unexpected circumstances with a broad and balanced mind instead of being biased and prejudiced by specific beliefs, ideologies, and worldviews is something that the show emphasizes here. I think of Princess Mononoke. In the American version, the dub, the line given to Ashitaka is to see with eyes unclouded by hate. And certainly hate is a crucial motif in that film. A kind of factionalism where genuine grievances are turned into dogmatic ideological stances, motivated not by a harmonious willingness to make a better world, but by resentment and loathing. But the original Japanese line is more Buddhist and more philosophical, just to see with eyes unclouded. Hate can cloud them. So can love or passion. So can any biases, any narrow practical convictions that require one to pretend that the world is simpler than it is, to look at complicated circumstances from a Manichaean and two-dimensional perspective. The Dragon Prince is not that good, but it works in this season for many of the same reasons. Even characters who are not literally blind or blindfolded fall victim to a kind of blindness. The problem is not that what they are doing is wholly wrong, or that they are monstrous, but that they allow passions and resentments to take control of them. They do not see circumstances clearly and concisely. Instead, they see the world through one narrow lens, not wholly unjustified, but too reductive, too absolutist, too exclusive of all other considerations. Viren was a victim of this in the past, and he greatly resents his actions in that past. I was not a fan of bringing Viren back again, but what we get of him is good enough that I can't complain too much. Viren was so obsessively committed to preventing his son from dying. Now, that is a very reasonable concern. In fact, there is no objective, or very few objectives, that are equal to that in being reasonable, and yet he becomes too obsessive, he becomes too dogmatic, he becomes too insular in the pursuit of that goal, that objective. On one side, on one perspective, he is justified, but on others, he is weak and uncertain. It is a very reductive and oversimplistic way to look at the world that he allows himself to be drawn into because of his desperation. The same is true of Claudia and her attempt to bring Viren back. And it is also, as we see in this season, in a bit of a twist, true of Erebos. It's a bit of an odd twist, and I'm not sure it entirely works in making him sympathetic, but it's not bad because it lines up very succinctly with the overall emphases of this season again and again. Viren desperately wanted to save his son, and in the process became biased and resentful. Erebos wants to save his daughter, a goofy little kid who never really did anything wrong, at least from Erebos' perspective, and just wanted to have fun and play with magic. This is unacceptable to the Star Touch elf overlords, and they have her killed. Viren became extremely resentful about what happened with Soren and what he eventually was driven into, and Erebos has a somewhat similar experience in that he became this agent of malice and chaos and resentment as a war against a cosmic order that he not unreasonably considered unjust. Rayla and Callum have something a bit different. They have had grievances toward each other, some of them legitimate, some of them not, but they have been willing to look beyond those grievances, to not allow their lives to be clouded by overwhelming waves of passion and anger that present them in a superficial light and prevent them from being able to see clearly. When they first got together, it was that exuberance of young love, but now they're older, and more importantly, they've been through a lot. They're still teenagers, but they are experienced teenagers. They are much wiser than they have been. They know each other much better now. Their love is not that of pure infatuation or sensual passion. It's that which preserves, that which lasts, that which has been tried and tested and nonetheless endures. That is the model of love that the Dragon Prince advocates for here. It is what Callum sees when he is looking for a kind of oneness, a kind of ultimate truth. He sees his love of Rayla. The kind of love, as Dante wrote a long time ago, moves the sun and other stars, celestial, pure, intense, and ultimately not poisoned by the kind of resentment and desperation that drives a lot of the other kinds of destructive loves that we see throughout the show. So anyway, tune in soon for our next analysis. Will be coming soon. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed Season 6 of The Dragon Prince. It's quite cohesive. Not perfect. I have quibbles, but it showcases Rayllum quite thoughtfully and brilliantly. Anyway, tune in soon for our next analysis. Will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.